The use of his limbs. To the juvenile delinquent who's lost the use of his mind. To the little old lady who keeps on nagging all the time. Sounds like you got problems. Got a personal problem, baby, leave me out. Everybody got problems. Got a personal problem, baby, leave me out. You can't take your problem. Got a personal problem, baby, leave me out. Say 10 of you here and only 3 of you ain't. Got a personal problem, baby, leave me out.
Hey, RaiderFan Radio, Las Vegas, Nevada, right here, right now, coming at you from the RaiderFan Radio studios. And we are definitely glad that we're able to wrap. And that is show number 30. We have things that we want to shoot out at you and get to you and get your feedback on. And please remember, I see a lot more subscribers at RaiderFan Radio. Continue to subscribe. We love that. Comment, like, subscribe. We see your comments are kind of shaky these days, so get back in there and comment.
Are they recording our comments? Are our comments even showing up?
I haven't been seeing a lot of comments. I don't see them showing up, and they're not where they should be if they were being censored in any way.
It seems to me after we noticed that our comments were being censored,
it got worse.
Now we got less comments. So you can comment at
RaiderFanRadio@gmail.com.
Sabotage, man.
Sabotagey, as Bugs Bunny would say.
Yes.
Like, I think it was Tim Brown that said that about the Raiders' Super Bowl appearance.
The Super Bowl. It was sabotagey.
Yeah, Mike Lombardi in the front office. It was sabotaging.
It's good to be here. There's a lot that's happening.
A week ago, too. 2 weeks ago. But go ahead, Steph, sorry.
I was just going to say, it was just a lot happening the last couple of weeks that we've been away, of course, and wrapping up this season. So, a lot to get to.
It's show 30.
It is show
We
number
finally
30.
made it. They said it wouldn't happen. They said it wouldn't last.
They,
you know
hangs out with the theys.
You know who they are.
Finds out things.
You know who you are. They can like, share, and subscribe.
They are full of shit. I know that. A lot of you days are full of shit. Up in Oakland, you're full of shit. Some of you will get to that later. You know.
But as we love to do every show at the beginning of the show, because we're Raider fans, we're fans of football in general, we in sports in general, we love our numbers.
Yay.
I know Raider Rob likes to play the numbers every weekend here. How did you do in your football pool this year? In general, did you make some dough?
I made some dough.
Did you get some Vegas scratch?
My best week was 2 weeks ago where I had Buffalo big and everybody had advanced big. And had all the right over-unders, so that was a big one. But yeah, I'm out there playing it, man, and get yours in too. This is the heat of it. This is the heat of it right here. These are the real gambling weeks. This weekend, and of course the NFC Championship, and then the Super Bowl. So.
At the beginning of the season, I was rooting for Dallas to win the NFC Championship, which I lost clearly. So we'll talk about that, I'm sure.
So show number 30. So let's talk about some of the notable Oakland, LA, and Las Vegas Raiders that donned the number 30. And I'll start with you once again, our in-house Raider historian, next to the great Raider board, who we always keep reminding you about.
That was my shit, man.
Raider Rob, who was the great number 30? For the Raiders.
Well, one of the great 30s was somebody that I really embraced when he came out, and all of us really. Los Angeles Raider, and he was one of unfortunate, tragic figures that have been in the silver and black over our history, where they've had untimely death hit them and hit all of us. Leon Bender, Thomas Howard. There have been a number of people, and so this guy though was a tenacious DB. He was going to be the heir apparent to Lester Hayes. His natural ability to find the ball. When I talk about playing the ball, this guy played the ball like he walked into the stadium with this quarterback's game plan. The way Dexter Jackson played against us in that fucking Super Bowl, that's how this player played throughout his career. Just a ball hawk, physical, and I'm talking about the great Los Angeles Raider who we lost in 1989 at a very young age in a car accident in Marina Del Rey, Stacey the Man Turan.
Wow.
And Stacey Turan was just a fan favorite. He was really like one of those first, outside of Greg Townsend, Howie Long, Scott Davis, and a couple other players.
Raider.
Yeah, just a real LA Raider, and a guy that they rallied around and had so much promise. And then to have his life cut short, so soon into his career was just tough. But he was a great player. Look up highlights of Stacey Turan. He had a short career, but he's a great number 30. Stacey Turan.
Do you have a number 30, Steph?
I got a number 30.
Give me a number 30.
Well, I'm going to use this one because we actually talked about him before in terms of kind of sexy
A
Raiders
sexy number 30.
and posters, guys that, the players that you put the
Female football analysis.
Right.
Slut!
And that would be Mark Van Egan.
Mark Van Egan.
Yeah.
That's a great one right there. Dang.
Yeah.
Colgate.
Mark Van Egan.
Well, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, roll on it.
My honorable mention, not necessarily a noteworthy in the sense of great Raiders, quite the opposite, but a player that we became friends with, or I certainly became friends with, and interviewed quite a few times when he was an Oakland Raider, and that would be our friend Stuart Schweiger.
Yes.
We know you're watching, Stewie. We know you're watching out there.
From the law offices of
Stuart Schweiger.
and Cooper.
Yes.
Him and Gerard Cooper were real close. They were running buddies, and they were the two anchors and the two real personalities on those 2006, was it 2005, 6, 7?
Yeah, around
in there. And Stewie was a boss dude, man. A guy that, great effort, physical, kind of in the lines of a man we mentioned back at number 26, Van McElroy. At least that was
You were trying to tote him as the next Van McElroy. You tried anyways.
We were projecting him to be that. And he just, the thing with Stewie was that he had so much energy and so much physicality about him that he ended up hurting his shoulder in his second year, and that unfortunately became the one little linchpin to his career and the rest of his career.
Kind of like Jonathan Abram.
I was going to mention that. Good one, Stone. Yes, exactly.
A lot like that.
Fucking exactly.
He put his body on the line, like you say, and
just like that.
And unfortunately, he was also late to the ball a lot too. Yeah, it seemed to be there's a lot of
like
tackles where the pile was already started.
And then you
the
show
whistle went below, and there comes Stuart Schweiger running into the pile.
I remember one time, we were getting beat. I don't know what happened. And Ray Buchanan had told him to do something. And so he moved over, totally blew the guy. The guy went inside, caught the pass. He didn't end up scoring, but they were right there on the one. And it was quiet because we were like, fuck. And Gorilla screamed out, way to get to the play! But he's got the gorilla suit on. When you're in the hole with gorilla, you can hear him.
Right.
That's the disadvantage of fans on TV seeing the gorilla.
Right.
He does talk, and you miss Mark's commentary.
What he says,
And he's a very verbal.
He's a hardcore football player.
Yes, black hole.
So that's the funny part. That's the funny part of the gorilla is when you can be hearing. And he's
Through that mouth.
it's just funny you said that because he said Stewie was late to the play and it just was quiet.
Classically late.
Way to get to the play.
I think we motivated Stu for Stewie to get better. Like he wanted to play for us, and he loved the Raider Nation. He loved the Black Hole, and he loved Raider Fan Radio, and he was always giving Stone and I interviews. And
I got a picture we'll put up on the screen.
right on, good, okay. Yes, and unfortunately, with the just a lot of loss that we've been having this year. Where do we begin? We can't really even dedicate this show to anybody because there's so many people that have gone, but
like many shows before, we do want to officially put this segment in the show where we do want to dedicate and have a dedication to some of the great luminaries and heroes of our past, have unfortunately passed away this past just couple months, right? Since we've been in the show.
Since we've been gone, though, the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Since our last show, it just has been a unfortunate assembly line. It seems
dropping like flies.
Some real notable names and faces of Hollywood and public notoriety. Start off with one that we have to give a nod to because he is one of the pioneers of the concert festival. And the concert festival has now boomed into $1 billion business, at least pre-COVID it was. And of course, great festivals that this one spawned are the Day on the Greens and the Outside Land.
Us Festival.
Coachella, Us Festival, Texas Jam, California Jam. Lollapalooza, Funk on the Green, Budweiser Superfest, all those great outdoor festivals and concerts were pioneered by this one man and his partners back in 1969. Michael Lang, the head promoter of Woodstock, the famous concert in upper state New York that, of course, the great Jimi Hendrix played at that memorable morning with Star Spangled Banner being the encore song, and of course Carlos Santana and Jefferson Airplane, so many great bands from the 90s.
Sly and the Family Stone.
Right, yes, Sly, Richie Havens.
Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
And Young.
Sure.
No, Young was not there. No Young. But you know what? When I think about the concert promoter, when you think of the guy at the top of the food chain when it comes to putting all these things together, these events. My memory of him was that on the video, the movie Woodstock, he was the guy on the bicycle riding around the area with no shirt on, with his curly long hair, 1969.
That's the year, baby.
That's the guy running it all.
Yeah.
And frankly, from all things I recollect of him, is that these things were new. They'd never been done before.
Right.
So everything was learning on the fly, dealing with one crisis after another, trying to get from one moment to the next just to get the bands on stage and the people.
Yeah, very ambitious.
You know how it is. I mean,
very ambitious.
People inside the concert. Yeah, I've spent my whole life promoting concerts and guys like that.
And I do the injustice, not to control Stone, but Stone was a part of this too, and we all went and saw him and participated too. I'm sorry, what preceded that though, and what spawned Woodstock was of course Monterey Pop Festival in Monterey, California, 2 years prior, which was a big festival. But Mike Lang took it to a bigger height.
Yeah,
3 days. Attendance was over 100 and something million, give or take, 100 something thousand, and it spawned Altamont, and like we said, everything up to Coachella now today, and EDC out here, in Vegas.
Right.
I mean, they took over a whole town.
Exactly.
How you do it.
Well, that's to go learn a little bit about them. Make sure you go on YouTube here, type in Woodstock concert.
Right.
Michael Lang, see the movie and all those great segments, and a great piece of history you should all definitely check out.
Yes, definitely try to duplicate.
Who else we got on our list?
Right?
Well, another sad loss in the world of comedy was Bob Saget. Many of you, of course, know him from the show Full House back in the 90s with John Stamos and Dave Cavalier, and of course the Olsen twins, yada, 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 you 90s folks and millennials, you know it better than I do. Of course, a great stand-up comedian, blue, raunchy.
Which I did not know until.
Stand-up comedian. When I first saw Saget, it made me think of Eddie Murphy when people first came to see him do his stand-up after he got popular on Saturday Night Live as Gumby.
Yeah.
And he's like, I ain't here to tell no motherfucking Gumby jokes. You know what I'm saying? You thought you was Gumby, damn it.
Right,
And Saget was the same way. Of course, he hosted America's Home Videos, which spawned this industry now of video clips and fails.
Oh, that was huge.
Man.
Yeah, I was
I used to watch it,
Yeah.
And he was great at that. And so... and then, of course, yes, the stand-up comedy movies. Directed one of your favorite guys, Artie Lang.
Artie Lang, Dirty Works, did he direct?
Too, yeah,
he directed Dirty Works, McDonald,
Yeah.
And he did some other directing, too. Was portrayed in Family Guy, all that. And just recently was really just big in the podcast world himself, had a great podcast, and was getting a lot of play, was back on tour when he unfortunately passed away in Orlando, Florida, about a week and a half ago. So Bob Saget, our peace and love to you, man.
Yes.
Real sad loss, and one of those surprise ones.
Definitely a surprise, and there's a lot of that lately, and it continues to be. And I don't know when that's going to end, but I hope
it's never going to end.
You think it's going to end? Are you waiting for an ending? Are you want a happy ending when all this ends?
I mean, I
know happily ever after.
I know that there is, there's death is part of life, and that's just the way that things are. I get that, but when people are like dropping like flies, I mean, this is like not normal. To me, yes, people die every day and millions of people die every year, but it just seems like, whoa, young, old, and Bob Saget was a young guy.
65 years old,
and it's just unfortunate, it becomes a political thing, and this whole vaccine has become a political thing. that
being attributed to people's deaths.
Right.
Some of these notable people's deaths.
Right. Whether it is true or not,
Right.
and if it is true, it's like the people come out against it, like, don't say that wasn't true. It's like people's deaths become politicized, but there has been a lot that has been due to either, getting the jab or, having COVID.
Are your spidey senses tingling?
Yeah. Can you tell?
Also,
be careful out there and do whatever you got to do to be safe. And I'm not even going to preach. I try not to preach, about. I got my booster shot. I'm 65, so I got it yesterday, day before, and I was hurting. I had it. I've been telling people I got it in my ass, but I got it. I had it right below my balls because I wanted them to get bigger. So
yeah.
I think that's a real booster.
Comedy world just this past 3 days ago, Louie Anderson, 68 years old, the great stand-up comedian, once hosted Family Feud, has a special heart in the black community because we love him in Coming to America. A lot of people love him, but that's how a lot of black Americans learned aboutLouie Anderson, was in Eddie Murphy's Coming to America.
That's too bad. That was late.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But he'd already had years of fame.
Yes.
And
he had
success
a
as
great
stand-up
cartoon.
comedian. Yep, yes.
In the mid-90s,
Yes.
and I used to watch it.
I used to watch it too.
I was in my
Me
late
too.
20s.
Yeah.
And I would still, in the afternoon, I would get stoned. I would go grab my bomb on the afternoon, and Louie Anderson cartoon would come in. He plays a kid, a child version of himself, in that kind of almost like a Little Rascals kind of child role.
Right.
And his just kind of, I don't even know how to describe it, his personality or his style. It was just kind of, really
almost post-nasal, whiny.
Yeah.
A lot of it was based on his
but
mother.
really smart-assy.
Yeah.
He was a very big smart-ass.
Right.
His early stand-up, when I used to watch him on Comedy Central and stuff like that, he did a lot of his mother. A lot of comedians back then will imitate people.
Right.
And a lot of it was his mother. And then I guess Baskets.
He was
for a lot
funny.
of you millennials and Gen Z.
The
This
new
newer
show,
Baskets on FX, he had been the star of that.
Plays the female.
Yeah, he
plays
which was based on his mother.
Right.
He was like a center character of his comedy. Anyway, Louie Anderson, God bless him. Sidney Poitier is gone at the age of 98. Poitier. Sidney Poitier.
Is that like French? Is that French?
Yes, he was from
I
Haiti.
would think so.
He was from Haiti, immigrated here to America when he was a young boy and became a stage actor first, and moved his way up the ranks into Hollywood. And of course, best known for being in the movie In the Heat of the Night. Or what was In the Heat of the Night. But a bunch of others. I loved him in Band of Angels with Yvonne DiCarlo and Clark Gable. He's
Guess
in that.
Who's Coming to Dinner.
Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. No Way Out. Breakfast at Tiffany's. Is that him? Spencer Tracey.
Yeah, I think
No, it's Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. I don't know. We have to check.
I
But
think
anyway,
the most notable thing to me about Sidney Poitier.
Let's Do It Again and all that with Bill Cosby in the 70s.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember him in some of the black, like the Bill Cosby movies. That's where I grew up in the late 70s.
Right.
I saw those in New York when they came out as a little kid.
You saw everything.
My dad would take me to those kind of movies. But just the fact that, in a world of Hollywood that was obviously predominantly white for so many years, Sidney Poitier was the breakout star black actor. Did he win the first Academy Award?
Yes, he did. It was an Academy
for
Award.
male actor, direct star.
Right.
See, going to Grambling has helped you.
Yes,
educated.
I've been learning about
He's only been there 3 weeks, and look at him.
I'm Grambling, all right.
Grambling and Grambling.
I'm getting me some hot chocolate. I'm hanging and banging and Grambling. But yeah, we love Sidney Poitier. Anybody else on that list?
Well, of course, you've got wanted to mention one of the great musicians, and one of the, I would say, one of the just not out of the park, but just one of the
he's out of the park.
surprise diamonds in the rough.
He's out of the park
that became
for sure.
a rock star.
Right.
Stone, yes.
My
man.
first earliest
Person we all
recollection
grew up
of the
on.
great Meat Loaf, who died at 74. Major health problems over the years. So many of you newer folks probably remember him from, he was on the Celebrity Apprentice, and by then he really kind of let loose, and his emotions were really getting the best of him. He was in Fight Club too. But I'll start from the beginning. My first recollection of Meat Loaf was as a little kid in the late 70s. To see music videos, you would have to stay up late between 1 and 4 in the morning to see music videos on it would be either on Don Kirshner's rock concert or a show called Night Flight. Check that out, Night Flight, for all you retro rockers that like all that
Midnight
stuff.
Special.
Midnight Special. But the first video I saw him in, really late at night, was Paradise by the Dashboard Light. And it's his, probably, I would say, his most famous video. And it's my first recollection of him. Seeing him on screen with this huge band that was awesome, great musicians, had all this amazing energy and a great, powerful voice for these long songs, long orchestral pieces of music, rock opera style, and to be such a big, gnarly ogre of a man. On top of that, he'd be wearing the lace white shirts just like Robert Plant or something, like a rock star, right?
Right.
But he's this big, gnarly ogre, and he's singing along with this beautiful, hot little brunette chick, and they do the duet. So definitely check out Paradise by the Dashboard.
And you gotta give kudos to his great producer, who was at the time like Mark Ronson now, or Bruno Mars, or some of these producers you guys have today. This guy John Steinem, because of the breakout that Bat Out of Hell was, and how it just took over album-oriented rock radio and pop radio back then. He was like the big producer, man, and as sometimes happen with big producers, he got a lot of work, but he never was able to duplicate, and record companies, Chrysalis.
That was their opus.
Yeah, Epic, Atlantic, they all spent 4 or 5 years paying him money to come in and produce acts to try to catch that spark that Meat Loaf had. And Meat Loaf's run lasted about 3 or 4 years in first run, because you had Paradise by the Dashboard Lights, but then you had the other one.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
2 out of 3 ain't bad was the one that won. Bat Out of Hell.
Bat Out of Hell. Like a Bat Out of Hell.
It was just a big album, man. It was a big album. You wouldn't even understand unless you understood albums and the way that worked back then, and just how major an album could be and what shift it could make to the music industry, and just the importance we put on albums back then. You kids today, you don't give a fuck about your music. You just take it out of some little machine.
because it's downloaded.
You don't have no liner notes. You don't have any of the credits.
Right.
It's kind of sad that it's not packaged.
A record was something you could hold in your hand in amazement and stare at for hours.
His album cover was over.
Yes. I was thinking about Meat Loaf performance at when we used to do RaiderFan Radio, the original incarnation of it, and I think we were at the secret Van Damme location, and the two of us, so into Canadian football. I was just I hated it.
We would take anything football. We would take European football, Canadian football, any football.
It's like the way you guys discussed it, like you were so into it.
Oh, by the way, I'm teasing this now for the future. The Lingerie League Legends is coming back. And we will be hot on it, to say the least. I'm sorry, Steph.
That's all right. Meat Loaf. He was the one that was the star of the show for the Canadian football, the bowl. I guess there was the championship game.
The Grey Cup.
The Grey Cup.
Right.
And that performance, everybody was like, Meat Loaf, and everything. just couldn't believe that they were able to score him, but they needed something to make that game more interesting and get more people to watch that.
Well, he's big in Canada, though. He was big in Canada.
The thing that makes Meat Loaf different than even all the other rock stars we talk about, number one, having such a great, powerful voice, being part of such a great writing team, and being such a great part of rock and roll music history.
Yeah.
He was also a stage actor before he did all that. And he was in Broadway, did some shows. I think he did Godspell and things like that when he was very young, first moved to New York. He did the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I think stage and the movies. In the movie, the dude coming in on the motorcycle. One of my favorite movies when I was a kid growing up, and I knew rock and roll was my future. There was a movie called Roadies roadie.
Yeah.
And Meat Loaf plays the roadie. He ends up being a roadie for Alice Cooper.
That's good.
And living the life of a roadie. I think probably one of his most recent, or not recent, but latest notable, it's hard to believe it's 20 years now, but it's the 20th anniversary of Fight Club. And Fight Club was turned into a cult.
It's been 20 years?
20 years since Fight Club. Can you believe that? It's amazing. It's incredible. It seems like yesterday, but he plays one of the fighters in the Fight Club, the big giant guy with the huge tits.
Very sensitive. I think he was pre-op trans is what they were trying to portray with him. But yeah, Meat Loaf, man, great performer. One of the
too young, 74, too young.
Don't let your meat loaf.
Yeah.
Well, that's our dedications for the night. Now we actually have to get to what we are Raider Fan Radio, right?
Yeah.
We are Raider Fan Radio on YouTube.
Yes, we are. RaiderFanRadio@gmail. Hit us with your comments. And Raider Nation, the season's over. The finale happened against Cincinnati in Cincinnati on the road in the playoffs. After
Playoffs?
Performance.
You kidding me?
One of the great instant classics, as you would call it. With our nemesis, the San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles, that ended the regular season, and with that win, we were able to get into the playoffs. And prior to that game, another moment in history here with the Las Vegas Raiders in their first year, because I want to ask both of you how to summarize the first year of fans and the Raider Nation and everything being here. But Stonerdude and Mutt and Jason,
Jeff Duncan, and Jaime.
Jeff and Jaime, Raiderhead, were able to perform, and they did perform. Stoney teased it, and it happened.
Well, I teased it because I wasn't sure if it was going to happen. I had to wait for the Colts game to end to decide if we were going to go into the parking lot with Raiderhead, the world's only Raiders tribute band, as we used to play at Ricky's for many, many, many years prior to that in the Oakland Coliseum. We had never played in the Death Star parking lot yet. It was something we thought about, and back to what you said, I'll kind of add my feelings on the year as far as the fans go. I did go to a few games during the course of the season just to go tailgate. I can't get in the game because I'm not vaccinated, but I went to it anyways because I had to be part of the scene, feel it. I wanted to be part of it too. If it was going to grow, I wanted to be there while it was growing. So for the most part, it was very quiet, suspiciously. A lot of empty parking spaces because there's a lot of people that buy those tickets that don't go to the games. So literally the parking lot was...
But they buy the tickets and they don't live here.
Oh, they're
so they don't have a car.
Right.
They're on the strip. They're coming into town. They don't have a car.
Right. They come in. A third of the attendance, I found out, is from walking from the strip. A third of the attendance. That's a huge chunk.
Wow.
So, but towards the end of the season, during the Bronco game, I felt the momentum of the parking lot, and the fans started to feel a little bit more like Oakland. The Black Hole has their whole corner.
I
didn't say it was like
Oakland. Not cops.
Go ahead. Get me. Get me. You're right. I know I insult the days of Oakland.
No, I wouldn't shoot him either.
There'll never be another Oakland.
Delete.
And anybody in the parking lot will tell you that. This is nothing like Oakland.
But you started to feel some energy.
The Black Hole established its corner.
Right. Back home, Las Vegas.
Many of the other fans.
Managed by Cisco.
I believe that. Black Hole, Cisco.
Here in Las Vegas.
So, I'll kind of get more to Raiderhead. I could feel the momentum building, and especially after the Colts game. And that's when I got a call from my friend Double D, who's out there. Double D calls me and says, "Dude, we gotta get in that. We gotta get Raiderhead in that parking lot.
Love you, Double D, for that.
Somehow he gave me the boost, and I went, I don't know. It's gonna be hard. We gotta do this and we gotta do that. We gotta get a generator. We gotta get a pass to get in the jail. All these things had to come together. Money. We needed money."
And Double D was like, writing it down like, check.
No. Double D just said, just make it happen.
Yeah.
And I was the one now, man. Like you. I got my pen and my clipboard.
Double D was just an inspiration.
He was an instigator and inspiration.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good way of putting it.
And I love him for it. And he came out for the game. He goes, if you make this happen, I'll be there and I'll help you do every step. So he was on board. So I did the things I needed to do. I got the generator. I got the pass. But it was positioning now. You know how it is before a game.
Yes.
And thank you to Cisco, Black Hole Cisco, and Rachel, the Black Hole.
Right on.
Because they are literally the two folks who brought me into their Black Hole tailgate party because of our history with the Black Hole.
Yeah.
And just knowing each other. They made it happen. So
right on.
We got it. Yeah, thank you very much. That was crucial. Out of a long list of gnarly things it took to do, that was definitely the final piece.
Logistics.
Yes. So I rented a U-Haul van.
Yeah.
We'll get pictures on there. I got pictures here to put on the screen. And we parked right in the corner. I mean, right on the corner of Russell and Polaris. But the Terribles Park, the Terribles...
Which is now becoming a very popular little area.
It's the area where everybody funnels.
It's like Hagenberg.
I know, I feel it.
Yeah.
I felt
well, that's what I meant by the feel of the trying.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, keep trying. Keep trying. You're going to make it. They're getting there. They're going to get there.
They're getting there.
That corner, let me see if I can do this on the screen. Yeah, there it is. This would be the corner here where my wrists are, and we were right there on the corner. And
it's right there.
Where all the fans funneled into the game from the parking around the area.
Right.
So there were thousands of fans, and Raiderhead did it. We just did it. We went raw. Guitar, bass, and drums. Mutt sang lead. Raiderman was there. We had him do the oath.
Yes.
And it was just a very epic, memorable time. And it was the first time doing it, so that at least gives me the inspiration and the notion that there will be a second time, and a third time, and a fourth time. So thank you for all that. Raiderhead will be back to the parking lot at the Death Star. And thank you for all your support.
Wait a minute, I'm throwing out an idea to you, man. You need to get a custom jacket. Like a Raider jacket, either black with white lettering or silver lettering, or a white one, and have the Raider oath written into it.
Oh,
into the sleeves.
That's a beautiful
into
idea.
The back, all of that.
Like a tattooed prison.
Have a jacket made with the oath on it, or get a patch made up. Get a patch made up and put it on the back of a jacket.
I like what you said though. Embroider it like a piece of art.
Exactly.
Yes. Awesome.
You're the artist to do it.
There you go, Raider man. Make it happen. Now he's gonna call him Dad. Now he's just like Double D's. Dude, call me now.
Well, you are the resident artist.
Stone. Right, what Raider Rob said. Gotta get that jacket going.
But overall, it was a success.
It was a success and a lot of fun.
Congratulations.
And it was. We did it because there was that feeling of. I mean, first of all, it was the AFC West division rivals.
Right.
The San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles. It was to go who winner goes to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So therefore, it gave it a playoff atmosphere. And while I said earlier that the parking lots were empty for all that for the season, it was packed
for that game.
So prime time, meaningful game. Limousines were rolling up into the VIP. It was pretty much a glimpse of what's to come if the Raiders do have success here in Las Vegas.
You went out a couple of times throughout the season. What was your summary of just the first year of the rollout of the Raider Nation in Las Vegas and the fans being here? And, we also, all three have the perspective of the locals too, which, as I've been saying, won't be the dead horse, but the Raiders have got to bring more locals into the fold, to fill those empty spaces that Stone's talking about. What's your summary of the first year?
As a Raider fan, of course, I'm disappointed by the lack of our ability to be able to access the games and all the blocks that happen against the Raider Nation, including the vaccine mandate and including, the price.
Politics. Steph is here to talk politics. Here she comes.
I didn't make the political, they did.
Talking politics once again. Look out. Here goes
politics. But the Raider Nation of Las Vegas they're still Raider fans. You know what I'm saying? So they have a good idea of the quality they want to see. And they weren't here for that reason. It wasn't because of anything else, yes, and the lack of bringing them in and welcoming them in at, instead of the LA presence that Mark Davis brings, it is kind of like his exclusive party.
That I agree with that 100% as far as that exclusive party
Yeah,
vibe that they're trying to.
Right.
Back to what I was kind of saying though too. That's known.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it now.
They
out
feel
there.
it. Yeah.
They feel it. So the actual old school fans that do come to support aren't having it. In other words, they're aware of it.
Right.
And that's why I say that yes, it'll never be Oakland. But there are a faction of fans out there that just
are trying to demand.
Hey, the Black Hole was a small little fan group when they came back to Oakland, and many people were supporting the team then. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to take that type of new grassroots, organic is the new word that's said a lot these days. Version of that wants to get. It's going to take a younger generation,
right?
The new Raider. No, there'll be another Raider Rob,
really,
but it's gonna be someone that passionate,
right?
That's that age,
right?
That wants to invest that time and effort and energy into it.
And we all know that the youth are not that great at movements, so don't expect too much. I mean, I love you guys, but
they're great at the movement of appropriating Raider Nation,
right?
Which, in this Raider segment, we should inform you now that I have some new lawyers. And we're starting to ramp up this lawsuit real quick. There's going to be some cease and desist starting to go out to some of you promoters and all that. The last little Raider thing was here.
Right.
I popped downtown at about 3 a.m. and they're all kind of little Raider flyers. Raider, how they spell it with the R and the 8, and that's all good. But yeah, man, it's about to be a change with that. So I'm giving you fair warning, man, on some real shit. Tried to spend the year being nice and casually letting mugs know. Doesn't seem to be a real respect for understanding that I created Raider Nation, I'm the founder of it, and that there's some legal things that are happening now that are going to rectify and place me in my full ownership, and I'm going to have to crack down, because we don't all love each other, and we ain't all together, and I'm the old generation, y'all the new generation, and so, just letting it be known, man, we about to, the Raider Nation thing is about to change. You have to pay to use that shit, because, I got to pay for my golden years and my future. Y'all been making too much money off my shit, man. Too many of you little motherfuckers.
Right.
Well, you know what I'm saying? There ain't no acknowledgement, really. You know what I'm saying? And so, anyway, it's all good. I didn't want to get on the tirade.
Yeah, it's what it is. But I'm saying that even in that, because there's plenty of young Raider fans that are like, we're not coming in because you got to get rid of this mandate. I'm not coming to your game. I'll watch it from home. A lot of them have said that. You've seen it on your Instagram, on your posts, your comments that are directly to the Raiders about it. So it's like, take that into consideration, because all of that is true. People are feeling it. The packages are shaky. They're not really offering what, the Allegiant deal that we talked about last time.
Yeah, there's fleecing going on, but we knew that was going to happen.
If the rest of the country,
it's a Hollywood
rest of the teams don't have to mandate for games,
what are you doing?
Certainly,
it for?
We shouldn't have to.
Right, but you end up with 25,000 Bears fans.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We addressed that. You know the bullshit in the game.
Right.
Bears fans, Ohio, they don't have mandates in those states.
Right.
So they didn't take a motherfucking shot just to go to a Raider game on the road in Las Vegas for one day, and they're here for 3 or 4. So you're being lied to somewhere.
And it was the Raider Nation being lied to.
Against certain, which is the home fan crowd.
Right,
but,
exactly.
The away crowd?
Yeah.
Come on, 20,000.
They need to drop the facade.
Yeah.
Wear a mask.
And welcome.
That's the common denominator.
They said that saves lives.
Yes, and we've all been to the stadium and inside the stadium without going to a Raider game, and there was just wear your mask.
And stop with the scarlet lettering of what you call anti-vaxxers, because anti-vaxxers aren't sitting up here as much as many of them are, doubtful and suspicious of you that have had the vaccine.
Right, you're shedding.
Okay, so Pete, what's going on, man? This continuous divide and fucking conquer shit in this goddamn country, man. It's 2020 fucking 2.
We should be
still
united.
With this bullshit. If you've got the vaccine, you feel safe and confident about it, then you shouldn't trip on people that don't have it. And the people that don't have it have just as much right to be doubtful of your status. And see what's going on here, man.
They're dividing and conquering.
Some straight scarlet lettering going on here with this bullshit. Mind your fucking business.
Well, that was the thing that you brought up, Aaron Rodgers, and you might
I
as well.
didn't bring up shit.
If you didn't do it today, you brought up shit sometime or another.
Right?
He's a shit bringer upper.
He'll bring up some shit.
That's a good one.
But we talked about this, as we have on the show. He was an option for coming here. It was in a trade package before the season started. And now,
I love how Stone said, "Yeah, so we're a Raiders show. We're going to talk about Raiders." We still haven't talked about that
because it's like
we talk about the fans, we talk about the stadium, we talk about what's going on.
The fans are really the only thing that matters.
That's
all
right.
You out there, the Raider Nation that showed up this year, those of you that did, held it down. There were moments of you being loud. There were moments of you really just expressing the passion. Of course, the great Gorilla Will. I saw Young Skulls out there. Some of the old homies from
Skulls was at the
game. Some of the old homies from Oakland. A lot of the LA contingent, of course. Don't sleep on LA. They're back alive and they're out here making it every weekend. And so, and the new Las Vegas fans that were there, I'm very happy for all of you just for coming out and representing the silver and black thing of ours, and everything changes over. I'm not going to be one of those old guys where I don't like change. My whole thing is change it for the better. Change it for the grander. Be more original. Come up with new ways to represent the Raider Nation. Take it to the next futuristic level, man. You know what I'm saying? It's perfect here in this backdrop of Las Vegas that's constantly expanding and growing futuristically. This Sphere thing is almost done. The Sphere, the amphitheater that's going to look like the globe from above. From above. Just like there's so much progressive imagination here. And that's what the Raiders should represent. You're the new show in town, man. And so, and
not just during football season.
Right.
You got a whole year to do something.
Right.
With the Raider organization behind it.
Right.
That's significant in the grand scheme of things of entertainment, contribution to the community and all those things.
Absolutely.
And I imagine, sure, they probably have some folks to do things like that, but it needs to be on the grand scale that you're always talking about and that we're always talking about, because this is the number one spotlight for all that shit.
And these players need to take a cue from the Golden Knight players. Use your own money and go out in the community and do things.
Right.
Have softball tournaments, stuff like that. Go out and have a giveaway at one of the boys'
Golden
clubs.
Knights are killing
Do it on your own.
Yeah.
Go out in the community yourself and do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be sponsored by anybody. You put the money up.
As opposed to spending all their money on
hookers,
court fines, hookers, hotels. Wait a minute, now hookers is understandable.
Speeding, not in Vegas. You can't get a woman for free in Vegas and you play for the Raiders.
That's true. But sometimes if you pay for it, you can also pay to leave. There's the thing about that.
All right.
But point being is that, and there's a community. There's an underground community of workers that we have to certainly be aware of too.
Of course.
Right.
Okay, but to spend all the money in the casinos and the clubs and the alcohol and the drinks and the DUIs.
Right.
And so forth.
You need to slow your ass down, man.
Nate.
Come on, bro. 3 weeks ago, you're sleeping in front of the Cromwell.
No. This dude was in the driver's seat, which I was telling you about, in the driver's seat in an exit.
Yes.
Leaving the Cromwell.
Right.
He wasn't even parked like...
He was just passed out in his car.
In his car.
Car's backed up behind him.
He's lucky he didn't drive.
Yes.
He's lucky he wasn't dragged out of there and robbed. Somebody ran off with his fucking car. Okay?
What are you doing,
man? You're speeding down 215. Like, come on, man. And like I was just talking about before we came on air. Personally... Where I'm talking about where the Raiders got to get some discipline with this organization, okay, and there's got to be some tightening of the screws of whoever the GM's coming in. I hate to say this, but if it was me and to set an example that we're not going to be fucking around on the field or off of it, I'd trade Nate Hobbs. I'd be looking to move you. Henry Ruggs killed Tina Trentor, man.
Yes.
Going 180 miles an hour.
On a street I drive every week.
And here you are on one of the main freeways of this city, 2 weeks after your own incident downtown, on the strip, after your teammate in the situation, and I don't know what they're imparting to y'all inside 1475, but you motherfuckers need to take y'all position a little more serious. It's all good with the tackling, all good that you showed up, an unsung rookie from Illinois, man, fuck that.
But see,
you'd be on the block fucking with me.
Raider
and that's the only way the Raiders are going to get well. You have to keep some puts down type shit going on around that motherfucker, man. Okay, motherfuckers is too loose over there and taking this shit way too motherfucking, just as a happenstance thing. And that speaks to whoever's in that building. They're not respected. Whatever you're telling them players or whatever you're giving out and imparting for them to respect this, well, I don't even have it on today, to respect the shield, they're not.
And that's what brings me to the discussion of the coach. You're going out looking for a coach now. You got a lot of the players coming in like, don't get rid of Bisaccia. We like him. See? This is the example. You always like the substitute that's cool, that doesn't make you do your homework. It doesn't make you study.
Doesn't make you earn your money.
Right. Doesn't make you earn your dough because he's letting you do whatever the hell you want to do. That's why you want him, Derek Carr. Specifically, you love guys that are on your ass because you didn't even basically practice enough to be able to have a connection with your receivers to win. It's still you as far as I'm concerned. But bringing in a coach, a GM, there's no Raider presence there. The type of people that they're going after, it's like, who is over there really looking
Lincoln
at like...
Kennedy,
yes,
the GM,
period.
like I've been saying. I'd love to see Lincoln Kennedy considered, and...
Mr. Vela, after the things you've stolen from him, maybe. Charles Woodson.
Even a Bill Romanowski. What you're going to have to do with Bill Romanowski, though, is put some people around him just to understand the whole PR side of Johnny GMing. But as a presence,
I like Bill
who can
Romanowski.
convey the football ideology downstairs.
That's what's missing.
A guy who has a presence and ain't about the bullshit.
Right.
Because that's what we need.
He knows what it takes to be a champion and to be, at the top of his game.
We talk about connectors back to Al Davis and, the true essence of what the Raider identity should be. We're getting further away from that.
Yeah, definitely with some of the people.
Bill Romanowski, Lincoln Kennedy.
Yesterday, I got a call from Raider Stump, one of our great listeners.
Stop!
We've been better friends for many years, 20 plus years. And of course, Stump, like all Raider fans, we like to talk Raiders. I get my calls from my friends that really want to get into it.
Right.
And the question was, what do I know on the inside that I might have a lead on who I think the next general manager is going to be? Because something we haven't even talked about is the fact that, yes, the Raiders, Mark Davis, fired or released, whatever you want to call it, Mike Mayock, who we've all been huge supporters of. Raider Rob wrote a letter predicting Mike Mayock before it even happened. I thought it was one of the coolest moves ever to get Gruden and Mayock, and I still do. We'll talk about the bad, the good, bad, and the ugly, but at least we had a combination of a GM and a coach that were working together, that wanted to work together.
Right.
And it's a rare thing, especially in professional football. But back to a few shows I've talked about Mark Davis, and just in general, and the answer to that is, I don't think anybody. And that's why you're not coming up with all these names that you think should.
Right.
But as of right now, as far as I know, based on the fact that people have either been resigning or fired or leaving or resigning, my exact words were that Mark Davis was on an island by himself.
You
Mark
did
Davis
say
Island.
that. You can see it
and that's
now.
what it feels like right now to me. So, and how can we go out and get a head coach and this and that and all the quarterback moves and all the moves you're going to be talking about, the draft? How can you do that without a general manager, number one?
Right.
So,
you could with a take charge owner who had an understanding
of the league,
business nucleus
right.
in the Raiders.
Unfortunately, that's
who
Mark
also,
Davis.
Had assumed some of his, father's acronym.
He doesn't have it.
And being an evaluator of talent on the field and off the field, and condensing this thing. It's just because it's Vegas and it's big doesn't mean the staff has to be big. The Raiders need to do is compartmentalize their staff with more, and we said this when we were in our first incarnation, football-minded people who have a bend towards being outside the box and being progressive in a football construct of the Raider identity.
Thank you. Not the Colts, not the Patriots, not the Bears or the Bengals. It's like those are the types of guys that they're going after. Reggie McKenzie's still working in this league. The Bears are about to hire him for general manager.
Are they?
Yeah, he's in strong contention for it.
Well, he's a bear of a guy, I tell you. He wears a lot of fur.
You know, it's just like it's like, where's the Raider presence? Who's in that room with him?
Right.
No one. He is on the island.
Nobody.
Yeah, and you could tell.
Do you remember the last draft?
We're for hire, pal!
Remember the last draft?
Just put Stone down the hall from me, so we can throw footballs to each
well, it'd be great if they just hired us.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I'll just go look. We got a lot of things going behind the scenes with the Raiders for many, many years.
Yeah.
But Mark, I know you're listening right now. We know you watch us every week or all the time. Our new shows on YouTube. All right, we are a great source to help you rebuild
Director
the
of
Raiders
marketing.
in the right direction.
Director of marketing. She knows marketing like nobody's business. She's been marketing us two clowns for the last 20-something years, okay, and helped promote the Black Hole, has worked inside the stadium under your father when she was working for us initially at the beginning of RaiderFan Radio as a reporter. Stone, you got to bring Stone in as the chief executive motivator. Stone just walks around 1475 motivating people. Okay, motivating you.
Go.
Not some patsy role like that, but really sitting down with players, man, being a presence around there, putting that energy out there.
Guru?
A guru type
I think
guy.
I could be a Raider guru.
Steph once asked.
I'm about that age.
She once asked Teo Johnson, who was his guru? It was a groundbreaking question. Nobody in the locker room ever heard anything like that.
You guys remember Teo?
She got popular off of that. But yeah, a guru, sure.
Inside of some of the greatest ideas ever, including especially the name Raider Nation by Raider Rob, I can't imagine anybody. My first description of Raider Rob when I first met you and knew you for a few years, that you were Al Davis's personal pit bull.
That's right.
That's my feelings about Raider Rob. He was the guard dog, barking at you and defending and snarling and biting anybody who tried to stick their hands into the business of the Raiders.
I'm his black son. He used to sneak down from the meet my mother over in
Illegitimate? Wait, are you saying that you are Al Davis's illegitimate black baby?
Yes, I am. And I'll be filing papers next Monday in Oakland to stake my claim to the Davis name. No, I've got
Rob Davis.
You hire me, and I've got a new position, a new title. I'm Chief Executive Raider.
Yes.
Okay. That means that I speak to the public. I'm the buffer between the media, and I become the Boudini Brown of the Raiders.
C-E-R.
You know who Boudini Brown is?
No, who's Boudini Brown?
Boudini Brown was the corner man and hype man for Muhammad Ali.
Oh, yeah, you do know who that is.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm the
I love me Ali. That's my guy.
Yeah.
I'm the Jimmy Hart. You know who Jimmy Hart is?
Who's Jimmy Hart?
The great promoter and hype man of wrestlers, particularly the honky tonk man of the WWF of the 80s and 90s and through the Raw Attitude. Okay, and we know this man personally. I do run into him a lot here in Vegas. I'd be the Flavor Flav of the Raiders. You understand? The guy that would protect you, protect everybody.
Oh my God, go
okay?
And that's real because...
Remember Denzel Washington and Man on Fire?
Yes.
That's me.
I remember Mr. Davis, and Rob never talks about this because I guess of his humility. But Mr. Davis was getting ready to go, as he said, quote unquote, he was getting ready to go in another direction with a local guy at the time before he got sick, because he was sick and tired of all this stuff, before Amy Trask was going to bring in somebody from the
Apprentice.
The Apprentice. He was like, oh, hold on, something's got to be done. So he wrote in the Tribune that it responded to a Jerry McDonald article and said that he was considering a local guy that's from the community. Hint, hint.
The community.
Yeah.
When they say the community, is that a black thing?
It's a black thing. It's urban. It's like urban.
Yeah.
I think that guy was Raider Rob.
Oh, that's nice of you. I don't know. We'll never know now. But anyway, the Raiders, man. The bottom line is it's 2022. There needs to be a new GM. There may need to be a new head coach.
There's going to be a new head coach.
I think we'll probably do something for the Super Bowl, so we'll touch on it around then as keeping with Al Davis's legacy, he always did something big around the Super Bowl, something splashy or something notable. So I
that
think
was Al Davis.
Yeah, you know,
Mark Davis. That would be a beautiful thing if Mark Davis. You would Mark. Again, we know you're listening. Like Rob just said, like your dad would have done. Make a big move.
Well, here's the big move.
And take the spotlight of the Super Bowl, put it on you.
Here's the big move.
Mm-hmm.
What's the big move?
There were rumblings.
This is the big move.
The rumble. Joey wanted something. Keep your eye on this one, Joey, and I'm putting it out there. Y'all know the power of my energy. Okay? Cliff Kingsbury, a guy that I wanted, and is in another letter that I suggested. And then we talked about
from the Arizona Cardinals.
From the Arizona, but when he was at Texas Tech.
Right, yes.
To come to the Raiders because of his high-powered sensibility about offense. And stretch and vertical offense.
Right.
Okay? Well, Kingsbury, after the game that they lost to the Rams in the wild card game, reportedly had a very heated exchange with the Arizona Cardinal owner.
Oh!
And reports in Arizona is that there's a difference in Kingsbury's feeling about working for the Cardinals. He's pissed. Come on. Mark Davis makes a call to Cliff Kingsbury and offers him $75 million for 8 years and pulls him up out of Arizona while there's some tension.
You think he's
reported tensions then, huh?
You think Cliff Kingsbury
is
that
wide
savior type of...
I don't think he's a savior coach, but he's a change the culture coach.
Yeah,
we've seen the success that he's had in Arizona the last 2 years with an offense that he'd like to see. He's got more, better weapons here, okay, and an emerging defense that's going to be top 5 next year, okay, if they can stay healthy and bring a couple more pieces in. Yeah. He's young.
Yeah.
Okay, and again,
creative.
He's creative.
I've seen it.
And he's not jaded.
Yeah.
He's not jaded yet. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And
he hasn't had the success to try to pull any or to punch back anybody.
My same feeling when it comes to Trevor Lawrence. You know, in a potential offseason trade for him, if you make it sweet enough, he's so new there in Jacksonville, and with the uproar with Urban Meyer,
he's ready too.
Shad Khan, needs to get some balance and stability. And I don't think he can get it alone. They need a GM. So, it wouldn't be no harm in trying to throw out a first round in 23, first round in 24, Carr, Moreau, I'm back to that, and a second round in 24.
Yeah.
And try to see if, things like that have happened in sports.
Yeah.
Wayne Gretzky got traded.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it can happen. You catch it by the iron flat while there's like little embers of tension burning. So Kingsbury, and then of course, for me, it's Derek looking good in green and gold. That same package up to Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Who just got kicked out of the playoffs. We need to change the quarterback. Sorry, Carl Alex. Sorry, man. I'm still on it and I'm going to stay on it. The Raiders need to change course. They need to change tempo. They need to change energy. He's had 8 years of making money off the Raiders.
He's rich now. Let him go.
That's what you're going to get, like I predicted and like I told y'all. How that game ended is him. Yep. Always coming up short.
Yep. Yeah.
And I told you as a Derek Carr supporter all these years that this was my make or break year for Derek Carr. Yeah, and he broke it. He didn't make it. So I predicted already 2 shows ago he'd be a saint. An 8.
Did you see the text I showed you from that?
Yeah, sure. Well, hey, it makes sense.
It was a chat room on a popular show that I watched, the Pat McAfee show, and in the chat room they were talking about Carr a few days before the Cincinnati game, and in the chat room somebody said Carr to the Saints, and I took a screenshot, sent it to Stone. The Stone was the first one to talk about Carr going to the Saints. So whoever you were, I forgot your name on the text.
Solly.
But you heard us.
That.
Hi, Solly.
Hey,
you watch RaiderFan Radio, right?
Comment, like, and subscribe, Solly.
Sean Payton was talking about he's like not really happy right now, but he's got a lot of time on his contract, and he was interviewed by the Raiders.
We want somebody
way
fresh.
before somebody new.
Okay, I agree with Rob 100% as far as the fresh idea, like a young...
Somebody new.
It's going to bring us into this modern NFL, especially with the division that we play with, the quarterbacks that we play against, and this Maiden new age football that's now reality. Mm-hmm. The biggest rumor and I can't help but still thinking about this because I got a lot of thoughts in my mind. Is that Jim Harbaugh's name has now been brought up quite a few times again.
No.
So that has to be at least discussed in the sense that it's and it could happen.
Briefly.
It's in the list of possibilities whether we like it or not.
True. You're right.
I'm not saying I want Jim Harbaugh. I don't necessarily want Jim Harbaugh. But I could see that after Gruden being
Why
gone,
talk about things you don't want?
after Gruden being gone, that being such a big signing, publicity-wise, along with the hopes that they could rebuild the team, I think that would certainly have that type of spotlight, considering his past success in the NFL and in college. He did turn the 49ers at one point. He turned Alex Smith into an actual Pro Bowl type style quarterback at the end of his career. He obviously created and not created, but he coached up and had faith in Colin Kaepernick with his feet. And he was a newer style quarterback at that time.
Got to a Super Bowl.
True.
At that time.
Got to a Super Bowl.
And I think if anything, you could say that Colin Kaepernick, a lot of the newer quarterbacks and players are reminiscent of him. Because he was that kind of middle from Michael Vick.
Really?
I would say
coming
so.
up with the
Just a big mobile, strong arm, but yet.
I see more Cam Newton than what he was supposed to be than I see Kaepernick.
Well, either way.
Kaepernick was a fucking Niner.
But the point being is that Jim Harbaugh had success with that style of offense, and it was aggressive, and he had a great defense too.
Right.
So obviously he looks at all phases of the ball and tries to make it into a powerhouse.
Right.
That's his goal, and the Raiders have to go in that direction. We can't fuck around with the new kids that we don't know about. The new coaches that he was a great offensive coordinator for this team, and blah blah. Bring him in, and he's gonna fix everything.
Right.
It doesn't work. That we need.
It does not work.
Just like you said, we need a presence at GM and all the names you listed. We need a powerful presence at head coach.
Yes, and
it's not.
It's not Rich. Sorry, Rich, but it's not you.
Well, like I said, we'll probably be back sometime around the Super Bowl, so we'll get a little more in depth of the depth chart and all the canoes to whoever. I mean, of course, Max Crosby and Ngakoue, that defensive line, Phelan Jones, Thomas, all you guys played great. Hankins, the linebacking core, Denzel, when you came aboard, free agent, just really brought a lot of energy along with KJ Wright. And, the DBs, you guys played solid. We, of course, had injuries with Mullins and Abram and lost some of those key guys. But Diablo towards the end of the season, Nate Hobbs, despite some of his off-the-field problems, played very solid at DB. And, there's a lot of growth, there. Hayward, can't forget Hayward, who came over from San Diego. Again, I'm sure Bradley will be back. So, I just would like to see him get just a little more imaginative on defense and maybe, again, open up his mind to, incorporating the blitz more so he can maximize the athletic talent of these defensive players that we have that are emerging. And, so it was a great 2021 season. We thank all of you for being with us through the season here to get your Raider news and checking in and sharing the season with us. And we hope to see you again on RaiderFan Radio when the season starts again 2022 as we prepare around the draft and all that. So anyway, that's what's up with the Raiders, unless you guys want to add anything else. No. Bon voyage, guys. I'm not even going to talk about how it ended in Cincinnati. I've been watching it since 72. It's the same old game. You must beat the zebra too. Period. End of story. Once you motherfuckers learn that, and whoever's the GM or whatever has an understanding of this culture and this team and what our history has been when it comes to the politics of the National Football League, you're just going to have to accept it. It's not conspiracy. It's just being a part of your game plan and your ideology when you go on the field, that we must also stay out of the referee's way and leave no doubt, like Steph is always saying. You're going to have to buy into that because you're getting fucked by the Zebras, and it's been 5 decades now.
Shoot.
This portion of RaiderFan Radio on YouTube. Like, share, how do I do this right?
Like,
share, subscribe? Or is it like, share, subscribe?
Share's at the end.
Oh, share's at the end?
Yeah.
Definitely share. Because sharing is caring.
It is.
And this portion of RaiderFan Radio on YouTube is brought to you by the new Stonerdude coloring book. That's right, 24 full pages of totally rad new Stonerdude art. That's me. I'm Stonerdude. speaking of StonerdudeArt.com.
Yeah.
I did coloring some pages myself. Some trippy artwork here, some of the black and whites you can look at, or something I painted in color the other day. And you too. You can color some pages here. They're all black and white for your pleasure, for your coloring pleasure. And you can get them at StonerdudeArt.com.
Hey.
Also, I will be at Glass Vegas, the big glass convention, the stoner bomb making glass art convention
Right.
in Las Vegas, February 6th, 7th, and 8th. I'll have a
Right,
table selling my coloring books. And if I don't see you there, though, get one at StonerdudeArt.com. You know, in this next segment, Rob, you know, Steph and Rob, every show, I see the little tangents once in a while. These kids these days, and we're talking about how things were cool when we were kids.
You guys missed it.
Children of the 60s, 70s, and 80s growing up. But this year, 2022, is the 40th anniversary for a lot of great rock albums, as you were talking about earlier with Meat Loaf album Rock, where it's now 40 years has gone by.
Wow.
Which is incredible for me to even fathom. 40 years has gone by so fast. I don't even know how we do it, man. It's like we're traveling through time and space.
Yes.
Like Jimi Hendrix, you know? So I got a list of some. I know Rob and Steph, you can add to this, of course. Because I know you music aficionados that you both are. And I'll run down quick. First of all, in the world of heavy metal, which is one of my favorite genres of music, the two greatest heavy metal albums of all time came out in the same year, 1982.
82.
Judas Priest, Screaming for Vengeance, and the great Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast.
Woo!
Two of the great quintessential, prototypical heavy metal albums to this day, 40 years later. Number one on the list of all-time greats.
Yes.
Prince.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Are those two albums, would you say, the templates for heavy metal and what we knew it to be? And what it became after them with the Dawkins and Megadeths and Metallica. And the Blueprint. Was that the Blueprint year?
Absolutely. Judas Priest is the first actual official real heavy metal band.
And this album over British Steel?
Yes. British Steel got them there, 100%, with songs like Living After Midnight, Hellbent, and just all that great album that was. But Screaming for Vengeance is when they took the bull by the horns, or by the balls, as Rob Halford would have done. And pretty much it went on to the Grand World Tour that just blew up their popularity and started headlining stadiums on a large scale. And they never really looked back until heavy metal kind of died. And Iron Maiden to this day is one of the great touring heavy metal bands of all time still, 40 plus years later. And Number of the Beast is pretty much the number. I mean, I remember being a kid walking into a record store and seeing that cover of Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast. We got Eddie, the zombie-looking dude, on top of the devil. So the devil's subservient. He's controlling the devil with puppet strings.
Yeah.
And then there's the devil at the bottom. Of course, we got that up on the screen, too. Prince, 1999.
Yes.
Now, back to the question you just asked me about the quintessential heavy metal albums. For Prince, for me, on the outside looking in, because Prince was still new. Prince was still new to me at the time. My brother was really into him. He knew all about him. And he had already developed his popularity. But with the song 1999 and the song Little Red Corvette, it seemed to me that was certainly a seminal point for Prince where he launched into what became Purple Rain and all those other things.
Yeah, and the album, you know, that he also ushered in for MTV, the video age, and became, you know, another component along with Michael Jackson and the Cars and Dire Straits and some other bands of really making that video industry explode and really pushing MTV with Little Red Corvette, 1999, like you said before. You know, us in the hood, you know, you flipped it over.
AUT-O-Matic.
It was AUT-O-Matic. It was Lady Cab Driver.
Yes,
and DMSR, Dance Music Sex Romance. Those were the ones that were like the knockers, the bangers as we call them, that you drove around knocking in the hood, you know, off your tape deck.
1999.
Lady Cab Driver, and DMSR. I don't care to win awards. All I want to do is dance.
A little music, sex, romance.
Well, back to what you just mentioned on accident or unintentionally. you said Thriller, Michael Jackson's Thriller, and that did come out in the same year as well. So in 1982, think about that, man.
Look at this.
We're always talking about how things were a certain way, or the culture musically and growing.
Like,
We just don't see nowadays. I mean, these albums, Prince and Thriller, come out at the same time. You know, who can forget? You know, for me, anyways, being in a roller skating rink. I think I saw the premiere. It was a big deal. One video would come out as like a world premiere.
Yeah.
You know, that's what Michael Jackson meant to the rock and roll and pop rock community, and just fans around the world. It was a big deal, man. It was like a global satellite thing, right?
Yes.
And of course, the video comes out, and it turns out to be a homage to the great horror movies of the 60s and 50s, 60s, and 70s. The Wolfman, Werewolf, one of my favorite characters of all time. So to remember seeing Michael Jackson for the first time, transforming into that werewolf, chasing the chick around, Ola Ray, the former Playboy model.
Who's gone? Didn't we lose her too?
She's still alive.
Okay.
She's still, but
she went through it.
And then of course the scene at the end with the eyes popping back at the screen.
Everybody had every chick. I was looking everywhere for that Guess outfit. I mean, everywhere. It's like that Guess outfit she had on. She had on a jean jacket.
Oh, you talking about Ola Ray?
Ola Ray with the red jacket, red heels.
Right.
But she had this really cool, like, leopard print Guess jean outfit. And everybody was trying to look for that, as much as Michael Jackson's Thriller jacket that, you know, we know is part of his museum now.
Well, in the politics of Michael Jackson's career and the politics of music and media, the song he basically, you know, kind of spawned the whole industry of speculation about himself with the song Billie Jean and the lyrics and the suggestion that he had fathered a child with eyes just like his. And this began to spawn the National Enquirer
with Mickey Howard
and this whole industry of Michael Jackson having slept in a hyperbaric chamber, wanting the Elephant Man bones, all these outrageous, some of them were planted by him that they don't tell y'all, okay, that he knew how to master and manipulate. He was a master manipulator of the media. But Billie Jean set that off because of the suggestion of himself in the song, saying that he was being stalked by women that had paternity suits and all this shit against him, and he had these kids possibly, and all that shit. And basically, people ran with it and started this cottage industry of just Michael Jackson rumors all over the place. And during that first year of Thriller, he was being accused. You think some of the shit that came later?
Man, that's a long time.
82.
He's dealt with that for a long time.
That's the song "Leave Me Alone." But anyway,
a groundbreaking album that also, aside with all the things you just said, just made me think about the first real huge rock and roll and pop R&B crossover when he had Eddie Van Halen play the solo on Beat It. That was a pretty big deal back then. It literally brought different segments of society and cultures, music fans of different kinds of genres, literally
were like
together.
And
then he started hiring rock and roll guitar players like Jennifer Batten on guitar, a female heavy metal rock guitar player. So yeah, man, that for me, that's as legendary as it gets. 1982. My last one, and I'll be done with, for me anyways, on 1982 is one of my. I'm a big punk rock, heavy metal, thrash fan, and one of the great punk rock bands of all time is Bad Brains. All black punk rock band from Washington, D.C. You know, they just literally, in a world that was obviously, again, predominantly white male rock and roll genre, punk rock at first, that came out of Europe and London, for Bad Brains, these kids out of Washington, D.C., to go create one of the, to unite in this style of music and go make one of the great punk bands of all time. I just got to give props to Bad Brains. Check out all the Bad Brains music.
Would you consider Bad Brains the East Coast version of Fishbone?
Well, I was going to bring Fishbone. They're first. They're more first generation to Fishbone. They're 10 years or so, or 5 to 10 years before Fishbone. Fishbone coming out of LA in the late 70s, going into the early 80s when they were kids in high school, and bands like Bad Brains were already starting to become part of the scene. Fishbone, Angelo Moore, and the Norwood Fisher.
Right.
Those guys were listening to bands like Bad Brains, and Fishbone, of course, is my other truly favorite bands of all time. But certainly they had a heavy punk rock element to their music. You know, and of course, whatever punk rock that Bad Brains and Fishbone listened to would obviously be the early stuff. Dead Kennedys, Circle Jerks, Subhumans, really hardcore punk. So Bad Brains is one of the cool punk bands of all time. 1982, again, 40 years ago, all of this stuff came out.
Yeah, and right along.
So all you kids out there, go check all that shit out online, research, learn about it, and hopefully you'll make your own history.
Real quick, right along that side, we're growing up in East Oakland, California, and, funk and soul and R&B is really in its, real prime. But, funk's starting to wane a little bit. Parliament Funkadelic breaks up in 1980 with Trumpipulation, and they're off the market for a minute. But then in 1982, George returns in late 1982 with the seminal and the blueprint for hip-hop, which is the notorious, of course, Atomic Dog. And and along with the video and just his reemergence after a 2-year layoff and was scaling down, that was the reemergence of the P-Funk vibe that I grew up on and that I was a part of for many years of my life, and just that was the hip-hop of the community, the black community at the time. And it had kind of waned there. Funk bands were getting smaller because of the expense and the change of smaller bands, new wave coming on hip-hop, and just record companies not wanting to spend all that money on the overhead for a 9-10-piece band that most funk bands were. And the first anticipated taste of that, at that same time that George was bumping off with Atomic Dog, was an album by the band called Cameo. And Cameo,
that was 1982.
Is one of the hardest, funkiest funk bands, rock, R&B.
12 years old, baby.
Okay, and Cameo had been known in the era of the funk of having a large band. They had like 12 guys. They scaled down. It wasn't so much George. George and them were always big and they weren't really touring that much then. They always had an average 10 people. But Cameo was the first band, along with the Bar-Kays, Ohio Players, to scale down in an era. And this is just before Word Up came out, but they had Flirt on this, Alligator Woman, and they had scaled down to 5 guys from 12. And so they were the first band. That was the big memorable thing about 82 for all of us that were in the funk, was that, oh shit, it's changing.
And that was Vanity on the cover of that album.
Yeah, that's Vanity. Prince's old
and that's
girlfriend.
A real record cover. A real record.
Right.
That you're holding on to.
That's Denise Matthews, rest in peace, better known as Vanity of Vanity 6 on the cover there. But yeah, that was a big moment in the hood. It was like, oh shit, funk bands are getting smaller.
Yeah.
So we saw something coming. And as funk's getting smaller, hip-hop's beginning to rise. But what were you doing in 82? Where were you at?
82, Southern California, going to the beach in high school, partying, and smoking a lot of weed, listening to a lot of rock and roll, playing drums, learning how to play drums in a band. Which I hope all you other kids out there are doing the same or getting a little taste of that, man.
Well, I know other things that have gotten smaller.
What's gotten smaller? Uh-oh, wait a minute. Do I want to know?
You do want to know, because this is what we say about your cell phones being tracking devices and being tools of surveillance, which is what an Apple phone basically is. I mean, like
we're watching it right now.
We heard
see everything
Hello, Chief. This is Max.
Yes.
All of that's being documented. All your emails that you have on your Apple phone, all of that can easily be read and hacked and seen. Okay, and
I've seen it. Believe me, I know folks out there right now that are literally day to day now have all their shit being read by somebody that they don't know about. It's a shock to them.
It's like,
but it's about to tell you right now, don't be shocked.
It's like, don't be shocked. It's
They're
a
doing
tracking device for
your friends are doing it.
Yes.
People you know are doing it. Your family's doing it. Your spouses are doing it, man.
And that's why we love BlackBerry so much, which is why it's under attack. But essentially,
they want to get rid of it.
They want it. They're working hard at it. But AirTag is a small little device that's an Apple device. It's called Apple AirTag. And one of the models that is very popular right now, Brooks Nader, she's a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model who happened to be at a bar, having a good time or whatever, and she leaves from this appearance that she's doing, and her phone bleeps and says, you've been being, what does it say? Someone's tracking you and has been for a while, is what her phone told her. And it's a small device. We'll get a picture of it so that you can see it. But people must have, somebody dropped one in her.
Bond. James Bond. He's tracking the bitch.
This is secret agent shit going on.
Right, you know.
We need to get back to James Bond. All you needed was a martini to get a chick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
They need a tracking device.
What the fuck's going on out here, man?
And so she comes out and she's like, you know, that's the Airtag. We'll get a picture so you can really see it. But
I
she
see it right there, yeah.
was so...
Little apple on it.
She was so, with a little apple on it. She was so upset that she wanted people to know that, as it turns out, an Apple Airtag, which is a tiny little circular thing that Apple makes, and it's being used for horrible, horrible things after I researched it. People have been using it in people's cars to stalk them, human trafficking, and all kinds of stuff, end quote, is what she wanted to share with you. So be sure.
She said all kinds of stuff.
All kinds of stuff. All kinds.
What could that other stuff? Stone, what could that other stuff be? What's the other stuff that could be going on there? That little tracking device.
She said, I had no
Are we
idea
upstarting?
that these things even existed until it happened to me. There's the Amazon shit you've got in your house where, you know, that's talking back to you.
Oh yeah, I've read stuff about that. Say the boxes got tracking shit in the boxes. And
right.
throw that shit away immediately or shit like
your
that.
Your phone is a device, and then now they've got this little one that they make so you can just pop it on somebody and follow them. That's not cool.
Like the Spider-Man bug.
Right.
That's very James. It's very James Bond. You're being bugged.
You are being
All
bugged.
of you are being
photographed,
bugged,
filmed.
You know who's tracking you? Your credit card company. Every time you swipe, they know where the fuck you are. That's the best.
Oh, there's a chip in your credit card
I'm just being facetious. What I'm saying, you know, this shit pales in comparison to some of the other shit.
This is beyond any kind of.
It's a nosy country out there.
This is like, this is your friends and your family and your enemies.
Fuck, man.
Oh my God, your enemies.
Right? Oh my God, your enemies.
Oh my God, your enemies.
That's why I ain't on that shit. I didn't trust it from the gate. That's why I don't be on there a lot. And I ain't on that shit. And I got a lot of aliases and I wear masks. And I go out in disguises and shit.
Yes.
I go to Reno, I don't look like this. I put on white face. They call me Buckaroo Bob. You ever met me up in Reno, you know I'm a
So we gotta watch out for what are they called?
Fans gone fans?
No, what are these things called?
I'm talking
Apple.
It's called
Apple Gate.
Airtag. Apple Airtag. And it's a little...
Now, do you have to have an Apple device to be in jeopardy of this type of surveillance?
You have to have an Apple device in order to be tracked. So even if that's your iPhone, your iPad, all your iShit, that's being tracked. BlackBerry and Android, different. And like I said, BlackBerry is continuously under attack. Now owned by China, and China doesn't own the chips. The chips are owned by Taiwan. 90%.
They're going out to Taiwan for the chip.
You get it? And then the other 8% is by Korea.
This boogeyman shit is boring me.
Are you exhausted?
And I'm exhausted like I am with the fucking Las Vegas Raiders. Okay? The Las Vegas Raiders bore me. And I am exhausted by them.
Put me.
The same way I am with all this boogeyman politics going on out here. You know, get the fuck out of here, man.
I used to be afraid of the boogeyman.
What do you want to look
the
at?
The boogeyman was in the corner of my house in the end of the hall, in the shadow. I saw the boogeyman when I was like 3. I'm telling you, I saw the boogeyman.
When I was real young, about 4, they say my mother says I threw a shoe at her one time because she walked by the thing and I got scared. And I threw a shoe. I threw my shoe.
You threw a shoe at your mom?
She knew what it was.
Did she come back at you with that?
She just told me. She said, it's me. You know, she's trying to, because I used to like to sleep with the light on. I was scared of the dark.
The boogeyman, I'm telling you.
He's in the dark. Boogeyman. So why? I never understood why that was frightening. why they use that to
This
frighten.
is a dark, shadowy, scary person you don't want to come get you in the middle of the night.
For some
He's
reason,
not boogieing.
this is why they say that you women are smarter than us. Y'all don't buy into shit.
Yeah.
Like
She's
boogeyman
way
shit.
smarter
You know,
than
like,
us.
y'all got enough to worry about some motherfucker really climbing in your way.
Yeah, you are a real boogeyman.
The man.
Oh no.
Child abduction. I'm not making light of
Dudes are
that.
horrible.
Boys are bad.
Boys are bad, all right.
Yeah, boys are bad. The Cowboys and the Niner boys
Oh no.
got real bad. Before we get out of here, fans gon' fan. I got one for you.
Is it going a fan or got a fan?
You do this every time I try
I
to do
just,
this, man.
I'm sorry, I just want to know what I'm watching.
fans.
Not on my contract for you to keep asking me questions. It's gonna.
Fans gonna fan.
Fans gonna
But
fan.
it's like, remember when Jarrett was telling us when we were first hanging out with Gerard Cooper, and he was like, for his side of his family that's black is Gerard,
Right.
and for his white side of the family is
Jared.
Jared. You know, it's in the hood.
Yeah.
It's fans gonna
Gotcha.
fan.
I got
For
you.
you other motherfuckers and people in Rhode Island, it's fans gonna
Gotcha.
going to
We're gonna
fan.
put it right there on the screen, right?
Sure, why not?
Let's get it up
I'll
there.
Make sure she does that.
Anyway, the Cowboys and Niners, after their little ta-da down at Jerry Jones' world, and the refs who got bottles rained on them at Jerry World after that game and that atrocious ending weren't the only ones that felt they had to get the heat off. Cowboy fans and people in Texas, as they're prone to do when they win, are big old braggarts.
Or what?
Big old braggarts.
Oh, braggarts.
That's right, I fucked your sister. That's right, my Cadillac's
If you're
bigger
gonna
than
do it, let's
yours.
just get it out in the open.
That's right, I got three more oil fields than you, and we can shoot it out about it, boy. Okay? So anyway,
Tex Raider.
Cowboy fans
Tex Raider.
went on, remember him?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cowboy fans went on a rampage outside of the stadium and began to
I bet
commence
they
to
did.
beating on Niner fans who, as they're prone to do,
Yes.
got all sourdoughy on everybody's face and shit. You know, drunk off that red wine and were gloating in enemy territory.
Not
We know
good.
about that.
We do know about that.
Definitely.
Know about it
And
firsthand.
started getting their asses whooped. And that's prone to happen to Niner fans. Police say that over 10 were arrested. And this was outside of AT&T Stadium. Jerry Waters is known. Dallas fans were throwing haymakers, kicks,
Whoa.
okay, and people were being thrown into flower beds. Okay, there were dog piles up and down the street outside of the stadium. We've been there when we
That's
were in
way more than
2011.
a skirmish or a melee.
Yeah.
What'd you call that?
I mean, that's fans gonna fan.
No, but when you have so many people getting in a fight or a scrap, it goes beyond like a little skirmish or a melee.
It's
just
like a-
No,
something-
that
bit
becomes
bigger.
that becomes a
Melee.
Donnybrook, as they say in hockey. That's a Donnybrook.
That's what I'm asking you.
That's a straight riot almost.
I knew you would.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is
You
very
know,
riotous.
a mob scene.
A slight,
I was thinking
You call it a mob scene.
Definitely a mob
'cause You're
scene.
mobbing on top of each
a
other.
slight
Anyway,
riot and a definite mob scene.
I don't think a real rivalry in sports is a real rivalry unless the fans go heads up.
They should have a spot.
Yeah.
Like, if you really want to fucking let loose
Yeah.
after a game, and you want to hit somebody that's wearing a
Yes.
different colored shirt than you,
Yes.
they should have a spot at every single
you know what they
stadium.
have.
I love that.
We could promote that.
You know, hold on,
Yes.
I got one for you. You know what they have now?
What?
They've got over a few years now, but the NBA started investing in online gaming, and so there are NBA teams that are being represented online by players. They draft online
Wow.
players that
Okay.
are great at playing those basketball video games,
Of
NBA
themselves.
2K and all that, and they draft like we would be on the team with two other guys and they're backups.
Right.
And something they're online, and it's a multi-million-dollar business. Wrestling is suffering right now. The AEW trying
It
to
is
make a comeback.
suffering.
WWE is really suffering. You know, there needs to be, and we need to get out of here. We're going to do it.
Are we doing this
We're
right
gonna talk
now?
to some
Are we-
of our investors.
I think we're doing
This is
it.
it. Write it
Oh,
down.
yeah.
Write it down. Write it
As
down.
Stone likes to tell you people, we're having a company meeting right here for you live. There needs to be a FWA.
F WA. I like the ring of that.
The Fan Wrestling Association.
Oh.
I know a lot of
this is happening right now.
Black Hole Bastard, you got to get well for that.
Oh, yeah, Black Hole Bastard.
Men and women.
Oh, yeah, you got to have women.
Drafted and sponsored by different teams, or they represent their teams in a wrestling league where you have tag team and singles matches, but they're teams.
That would be
so there might be a team of 5 wrestlers.
Yeah.
2 of them are your star singles guys. And then you got one chick that's the singles chick, and she's Charger Christine. The meanest bitch on the scene. Charger
Panther Pamela.
Write these down. Trademark
Dolphin Debbie.
Dolphin Debbie against Raider Roz.
Yeah.
Raider Roslyn. Shit like that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tag team matches.
We'll have a lot of Raiders.
Fan Wrestling Association. Wow. And then, of course, when you, like you said, book these different arenas in these different cities with an NFL team, you're going to have the same effect that you have with the game. If there's a big-ass match in New York with the Giants fans, and they're going up against the Saints fans, Saints fans are going to come to the arena to be in there cheering their team of fan wrestling.
Yeah.
Hey, Vince McMahon, you want ideas, motherfucker? Fuck with
Mark Davis, Vince McMahon. Who else is out there? The record industry needs a boost.
The Fan Wrestling Association.
Wow.
This is our shit. If you steal it, we're going to see you. It's obvious that it's right here.
Yes, right now.
We love you, YouTube.
Fan Power, RaiderFan Radio exclusive.
You know what time it is. Don't try to block, all right, or whatever.
Oh, they're going to try to block.
But that's our idea. Right here, you all saw it first. The Fan Wrestling Association.
Yeah, I like that. Yes.
Especially if you could get the teams to sponsor it.
Yes.
I know where they would do it. Canada, eh?
They ain't sponsored.
They do it up there, Missy.
Yeah, they would do it there. I just think about somebody telling me how he knocked somebody out in the bathroom at the Coliseum.
Oh, that
like that. You're gonna get a lot of people to sign up.
I had some fights in the Coliseum. Speaking of the Coliseum, up in Oakland, just wanted to update something that we had brought you the last show. I was chasing Keith, and I was chasing Corporal Keith. And if y'all don't know the story, Keith it took over A's Fan Radio, which is the only thing that really, for me, is one of the concerns, is that it's a subsidiary and a spinoff of our show. That's legit. Chris Dobbins is in the politics now, but he was the one that started in 2007, and it was 2005. It was a spinoff of our show. Okay, right. Keith was taking it over.
He was a regular guest on our show. He was a regular guest. They started A's Fan Radio.
Right. And so anyway, Keith runs it now. The Corporal right field on AceFanRadio.com. AceFan, I think they supposed to have a YouTube page, and he's on Facebook. Anyway, I was chasing him down, made a big old deal about, some stuff that was in the past when it related to the Raiders.
On the last show we did at the end.
Yeah, a bunch of just mistruths and bullshit that he's put out. Basically propaganda to try to bolster up and try to solidify his want to be seen as an insider up on the Oakland sports scene, and basically thinking he's us. And we influenced him. He worked for us at one time and all that. It's not personal. It's business. But in that, the misrepresentation carried over into just, blatantly, not telling the whole sides of stories. Anyway, he's trying to piggyback now recently. I reached out to him, told him he can come on the platform here. I wanted him to answer to some of his charges against Las Vegas, some of his charges against the whole construct of the fan base down here, and then some other little personal shit. Well, he hasn't responded. I don't expect that he will. He's kind of went quiet, thinking that it'll all blow over. And it pretty much is going to. I'm not going to hunt you down. I'm going to put the clip up that we made of you and see if that prompts you out, because I just want to talk to you. Just want to bring in the platform, and let's talk about why you think Las Vegas is sitting down here celebrating having Oakland teams, and not understanding the business end of this, and also denying telling your audience and fans what the truths are down here. And no matter what the politics are in Oakland, the bottom line is they get shit done here in Vegas. And in the last 6 years, we've seen T-Mobile Arena, we have seen Allegiant Stadium go up, we have seen the Aviator Stadium, Las Vegas Ballpark go up, where the A's would play temporarily if they moved to Las Vegas.
A backup hockey team.
We've got a secondary hockey team and indoor football team that's going to play at the Dollar Loan Arena a couple of exits down here in downtown Henderson. I mean in West Henderson, as well as in downtown Henderson, a multi-million-dollar skating facility and minor league arena for the minor league team.
Wow, going big. Yeah.
That's 5 major facilities in 5 years for sports, professional sports. And the A's are still tinkering around when environmental reports. And you motherfuckers up there dancing like it's Christmas Eve and shit. Okay? Believing that has some impact. Man, environmental studies every year are done by cities with the prospect of different developers. They may not tell you fools in Oakland this, but different developers come to Oakland every year wanting to know about land and wanting to put stuff in Oakland. Donald Trump once wanted to put a building in downtown Oakland and was denied. And that building ended up in Atlanta.
Yep.
You know? And so you not be knowing what really be going on. And of course they're gonna make you believe that they're gonna stay. The A's have still not committed to to Oakland. Committed to staying to Oakland. So get happy about your environmental reports. Bottom line is, Keith, you're out there with a lot of erroneous bullshit. I've called you out like you claim you call motherfuckers out because I'd like to discuss the real with you so you have a real understanding about it so you stop spreading false motherfucking information, okay, about what's going on here in Vegas.
Like I thought it was stoned like last time.
It's all good though. That's what's up.
You really want to hear what
I want to suggest something.
I just wanted to let you know that. Five major facilities.
Production meeting.
Okay.
I mean, because we do Raider Fan Radio all the time. We do segments and special things. Rob has done some cool.
Lost 2 teams, Warriors, A's. Go ahead.
Rob has done a few cool things. We spoke on behalf of course, Black Hole Rob Rivera, the firing or resigning of John Gruden,
who's suing the
NFL. So I would like to watch, me personally, a show, Raider Rob. And right field, how did you say his name? RF?
Keith Sass. Right field.
Keith Sass. Right field bleacher, Keith.
Right field.
I don't know. Yeah. You gotta change. You gotta work on that name, Keith.
Corporal
right field bleacher, Keith. That's a long name.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to see you hear a long conversation between the two. Uninterrupted, uninhibited. And I'm calling for that here on Raider Fan Radio Presents.
Yeah, I'm trying to give him some light. We're a popular show. This will help bolster your ratings. Lord knows you need it. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever you're doing with Ace Fan Radio. But you're the spinoff of our fucking show, and you're not doing it justice. You know, and you can even bring Boss Man with you. You're a sidekick.
He's got a sidekick?
Yeah, well, I'm going to put it. Keith is really more Boss Man sidekick. Because Boss Man knows way more.
Oh, yeah. He had a guy on the show that knew better than he did.
Looks like Reggie Jackson.
Yeah. Right.
So, bring Boss Man. You can 2-on-1. You can double team.
Oh, dang.
You know?
That's some
good.
That's some FWA stuff right there.
But you need to answer to your disrespect to Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Raider Nation, and the fact that I just want to talk to you about the situation, what your angst is and what your anger is and why you don't see the writing on the wall and you keep fighting, this bullshit of believing in your Oakland politicians. You went from Floyd Capehart to Ronnie Lott. You're just a wishful thinker.
When it comes to politics, Oakland has failed.
Yes, miserably.
Otherwise, they'd all still be there.
Right.
Steph, I want to ask you something.
Uh-oh.
You are our resident spiritual advisor, and our prophetess. You're a prophetess,
She sees the future?
Yes.
She has insight into the universe?
Yes, and has a great spiritual grounding. I've always found her advice about, things about life as it relates to, theology and what have you to always be interesting, very thought-provoking, and also very real and true and well-read. With shit that's going on in the world right now, where we are, just in all aspects of society, where do you think we are in biblical history as a civilization? I myself, for the last 5 years, have been saying this is Revelations. We're living it. We're inside the book. It's come to life. This is Revelations. So much is being revealed about everything in
that's
culture
for
and
sure,
society,
absolute truth, yeah.
where are we in
time?
Yeah, in time.
Are
we at the fucking end yet?
Like,
this is
on the timeline?
Because,
Because if there's a beginning, if there's a beginning of time, here's the end of time.
Right.
Where are we on there?
Where are we?
Time never ends. Time never ends.
Right around there. Are we right around there? Huh?
We're right around there. It's
Right there. We're in it. We're in it.
It's doomsday tomorrow.
You know what?
Because I'm sick of it, man. I'm sick of the killing, man. I'm sick of.
I vote for the asteroid. I'm looking for the asteroid.
These fools in some fucking major city
Another big bang.
last week shot into a car and killed a baby, 6 months old, man. You know, out in the street with that bullshit, this fake gangster, fake motherfucking street bullshit and this misdirection of black men in the community and black women too in this new generation. The shit with the politics, the run on and just the continuous bullshit going on there. The economy.
I think you basically summed it up.
The opiate shit, just like that's not being addressed in these poor communities of West Virginia and Western Kentucky and Ohio. And just so much of just human loss, man. Just so much pain and hurt happening with humans, man. You know what I'm saying? Services not being rendered. You know, power being cut off. People being evicted. You know, for being 2 months late on rent now. Shit like that. You know, where are we at in this human experience as far as
I think you eloquently just, you know, with all the examples that you gave, I would hope we'd all be asking for the end of all of it. You know, that we're at the end, and it's really not, you know, the end of, like Stone, we've all talked about this. This is not the end of, I don't feel as if it's the end of humanity, but it's the end of the bullshit that we're living through. It's coming to an end. It's at its worst, and it's hitting more. It's going to hit a peak, you know, and it feels like we're close to that peak. You know, it's just, this is a disaster for humanity and the human race, but we're fighting through it. You know, I want to see the aftermath. I want to be around afterwards. I don't think that the world's going to explode and it's going to be the end. We might get that asteroid.
I like the asteroid. I'm rooting for asteroid.
You might get that
giant asteroid. Hit me right in the face.
Yeah.
Boom.
Specifically you.
Me. I want to be ground zero.
I want a little asteroid too.
Yeah, I was going to say, but you want to be right in the middle.
I get high with you. I was hogging.
All right.
Well, there's
plenty of asteroid for all of us. All right? Look how big that asteroid is. That's fucking huge.
Now the time is biblical, you know, reality.
Yeah.
Are we
only in a rerun?
Close to it, like we're just demonstrating with Stone.
Revelations is basically a book that is a spin-off of ancient prophecy from the Old or Original Testament. So there's just a few things that are left to fulfill the prophecy of that book, and it's an intense thing to read. If you've ever read from Genesis to Malachi, just to get that straight. And then, you know, reading the other portion of it, it's incredible to look at where we are in time. But there's just a few things, a few judgments that have to happen, you know, of wrongs that have happened, a lot, the murder, all the things that have happened, you know, in our history.
This shit can't continue. Do you feel a shift in the energy of it? I just feel like a sense of like something's coming.
Yeah.
You know, and I hate to say it, it's kind of how I felt. Not that I projected anything, but at the end of the 90s, I was feeling that way. And then I was in a certain predicament when that Y2K thing happened. You know, I was locked down, and that really gave it a more.
You just described
it. But then 9/11 happened. And so I kind of thought to myself, maybe that was the feeling that I was feeling in 98. You know, I was also feeling like the Raiders were going to move.
All those feelings, all those incidents in time that happened, 9/11, all the other incidents you just listed that were significant, what you said, use shifts. Yes, it's shifting. And we just shifted 2 years ago to where we had the first ever global shutdown.
Working together.
So the level of shifts have been getting up and up, and it went to a global level the last time.
Right.
It wasn't just at a homeland that sparked something else. This was everything, the whole network, to where we know now through, and we've been talking about surveillance and all these things today, we are now a global network that's completely controlled digitally and electronically. And that's what basically the fight that's going on with everybody right now is the ones that are pretty much all for it and willing to do whatever it takes, whether it meant getting a shot or doing whatever. They want to be in on that level of control. And those of us that are resistant against it, we're the ones that are going to deal with it. And that's what tribulation is. And yes, it's revelation where all things are being revealed the way you said.
Absolutely.
So, are we living in Revelations? You can tell us here. Like, share, and subscribe at RaiderFan Radio.
Well, I just
and RaiderFanRadio@gmail.com.
I just want to wish you all out there, man, happiness, health, wealth, and yourself with your family and whatever your endeavors are. And just man, try to put out much love as you can.
Yeah, love conquers
and whether you're in the hoods, in corporate America, wherever there's tension in between, on the streets, whatever, man, relationships, anything can be talked out and everything can be worked out. Anything can be talked out and everything can be worked out.
That's profound.
Come on, man, let's stop killing and murdering and looking at violence as the first option. God has given all of us so much in life, man. Just want to live more and not want to hurt or get hurt or hurt someone. I know, it is what it is, but I'm feeling that in the world, man. And we're great people all across this country and all across this world. We really are. And let's just stop buying into the bullshit, man, and get back to one another, and just try to, get more out of this, man, than what we're getting right now. Because we can. We have the power to do it. Anyway, thank you.
Great words by the great Raider Rob. That was show number 30. We'll see you at show number 31. And until then, of course, you can get the Stonerdude coloring book. You can get it at stonerdudeart.com. And since we're not getting comments the way we used to for whatever reasons out there on the internet, you can still send us emails and your comments there at RaiderFanRadio@gmail.com. We love to hear from you, get ideas from you, and we love doing the show, and it's fun, and let's keep doing it. In 2022. Later, Raider.
The views and opinions of RaiderFanRadio.Vegas, RaiderFanRadio.com, and RaiderFan Radio Media are not the views and opinions of the Las Vegas Raiders, Al Davis Football, Inc., or the National Football League. RaiderFanRadio.Vegas is an independent media source.